great again.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Now, woo.
We're coming. Get our check.
Cheryl Morrow, the one, the only, the hair oracle.
Well, I think it was Red Dot, and then we also had a cosmetology school instructor in the chat, Miss Denise West, Michelle Allen, Miss Foster. Dang, I missed your name. It's always nice to see Miss Foster in the chat. Michelle Allen, you know how much we love you too.
What? About a whole lot of peace. Cheryl, you order that in a bag of chips. Let me do your hair. What's happening, good people? How are you guys doing out there? Y'all know who it is, right? It's me, your homegirl, Ladosha Wright, aka Key and Lolo, coming to you live and direct from rainy Cleveland, Ohio. And then right over there, yes, it's raining. You know who that is. It's Cheryl Morrow, the one and only hair oracle, and she's coming to you live and direct from sunny San Diego, California. We're about 173 dope episodes into the dumbest. And we do mean the dumbest shit that people say about black hair. We're talking about protective hairstyles versus protective hairstylist. Now, this kind of new. I had another title for this, but the king of lock, Kefele, a couple of podcasts ago, he whipped it on us, and me and Show was like, "Oh, we like that," and so we thought this would be just wonderful because natural hair is still plunging. It's plummeting. And so we think we know why. But Cheryl, as before we get into the topic, everybody welcome. Come on in the building. Come on, y'all. Facebook. Holla. What's up, LinkedIn? Hootie hoo. I think we're not. What's up, y'all? YouTube is always down for the crown. Then of course we got IG. It's IG. How y'all doing over there on IG? What's happening? I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening, day, depending on where you're at. Sure, what's happening in San Diego over there? Everything.
It's trying to do some switching from summer to fall. That's what that's all.
Oh, okay. Oh, it switches in them neck of the woods. I thought it was just always not. It gets okay. All right. Sandra and Wiki, I hope everything is going over well in your neck of the woods. We have a wonderful podcast. These discussions about natural hair. To be honest, I thought we just might run out of content with this one. It just it's not going anywhere, Okay. And I think I think given the topic today of protective hairstyles versus protective hairstylist, maybe I think now the public is definitely coming to the conclusion we've been hoodwinked and bamboozled. But the people who spent so much money and time in making hair care products, like what's they gonna do? So this is putting us in a very peculiar pickle.
Absolutely.
I wish I gotta find that. I think I can. I'm gonna see if I could find it. This was he was right here on LinkedIn. Oh, I know I am not gonna get his name. I think it was
Carter.
Carter, hold on, Carter. I hope you are watching. I did. I sent it to you, but I gotta get the here it is.
Asking.
Yeah, but you know what? It's just the title of the
314,000 Black women jobs lost. Black hair, where are you?
Let me show you guys this, and this is now he is an author.
Yeah,
he's an author. He writes and he has a couple of books. But I gotta get his name right, okay? Because I would love to have him on, but I'm gonna pick on him. I hope he comes through the chat here on LinkedIn. So let me go into your mailbox.
Carter,
I can find you. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Cheryl. Oh yeah, look at Kefele. Send it Sending it to sending something up, sending something through on a text message. But yeah, so Carter Rankin, is that what you said his name is?
Mm-hmm.
So Carter Rankin writes this article. Here it is. All right.
Or this post. Yeah.
This post. He writes a post. Thank you. And it says $8 billion. Let me get up to my mic. $8 billion in Black beauty spending. But on the contrary, on the other side, rather, I should say, 319,000 Black women jobs lost. And then he says, he questions, beauty industry, where are
you?
So this kind of sets the tone for some of this protective hairstyles versus protective hairstylists. Now, I had a problem with that. Let me put it back up there. And y'all know Kilolo. I just get. Here's the thing. Let me just tell y'all my situation about what I see. What brought me into the beauty industry? Okay. Was I could see that here's a group of professionals that were truly being exploited. I could see that. I could see it when I was facilitating using hair as to draw people in. But I could clearly see that there was a missed opportunity in the beauty industry where the professional was not being respected, and there did not seem to be a process to elevate them to that level where they could be respected. Now, I'm not saying doctors don't have their share, police officers. I think all career line fields have people who think they are smarter or better than. So we are not new to that. However, it's really on an insulting level, in as much that you have people like the Rankin guy who writes something crazy like this. Now, I'm not saying his information about $8 billion isn't true. And I'm surely not saying 319,000 jobs lost since the orange idiot has been in office. But then he makes this statement, beauty industry, where are you? So this is where I see the exploitation coming from in our industry, because here's a brother who's writing a book on this, but he hasn't been in the industry. And a lot of people are probably saying, you don't have to be in the industry to write a book. You don't have to be in the industry to care. You don't have to be in it. Yes, you do.
Well, first of all, what industry are you talking about? Because, of course, the way he puts it, 8 billion in annual Black beauty spending. What I'm assuming he's saying, Black women index very high on beauty purchasing to what we call big corporate, big beauty, which is like big ag or big pharma. And so when the beauty industry, as in hairstylists, barbers, and on that particular level, somehow that beauty industry, where are you? And so that there's different industries while we're talking about it. See, when we were on Planet Pluto pseudo, people start mixing up cosmetology with salon beauty, hair care. See, hair care is not the beauty industry. The industry that he's talking about is big beauty, conglomerates and big companies. And so when
why do you think that mistake is made? Like, let me just, and he actually wrote a book on this. Now, I think that for me, this is where, because when you work in outreach, you really become an advocate for people who are just bullied on, right? So I would definitely say that growing up, I was bullied. So I have a reason for why I'm just really, I don't like this picking. So let me say, so his book, you probably can't read it, but it says 1.9 trillion spent. That's what it says up top. And then right above the heart, it reads love letters from corporations to the Black community. So
Yes.
he and along with so many others are under the guise that this hair care, this stuff is a part of the Black beauty industry. And
Yeah.
how
The
is that
word,
getting used?
when the word black is put into the sentence
Okay.
or into the title, okay, because he didn't say Black Beauty, where are you? Did he? He just
Yeah,
said,
he did. He did. He did. Let me take this one down. I'm sorry, y'all. We gotta because this is a perfect segue into our episode. Again, we're talking about protective hairstyles versus protective hairstylists. And the reason why we're in this pickle here is because of people who do stuff like this. Oh, it says beauty industry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
But
I was wrong.
okay, so the beauty, and of course, when you put 8 billion in annual Black beauty,
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
there is no such thing as Black beauty. It is Black hair care, or there, but because it doesn't even apply to makeup. Now you may separate Black women's buying in terms of demographics, but the Black beauty industry is usually what's called Black hair care, or the beauty culturist league, or there's other words, but because we
Maybe
are lazy,
maybe he's including makeup, nails,
it could
maybe
very well be,
something
but
all together.
right, but in the context of the way he's putting it, as if the beauty industry did not hire all those thousands of women agents and Black women having those agent and sales and marketing jobs. That was Black hair care. So
He
Black,
wants, and in his post, what he's asking for, he's imagining these companies, we're talking about, guys, the Procter and Gamble, My Black is Beautiful, Unilever, Johnson and Johnson's Dark and Lovely, and then of course,
right.
he's and what's her name, Stacey, Tracy Ellis Ross. What he's asking, guys, is for if these companies had a
No, that's not the beauty
24/7.
industry.
Yeah.
Those right, those brands are independent.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not, those are outside of the conglomerates. But I think what he is saying, but because we spend in disproportionate to our demographic, our population numbers, that somehow, because we spend more, that the beauty industry somehow owes Black women, somehow that's connected. He's connecting that to some kind of safety net that should be formed when we have such a loss of jobs because of the administration, not because of the industry having
That's
a
very.
problem. And of course, the way that is, the way that it's posed in this 1.9 trillion spent is kind of saying, because we spend and outdesk according to our population numbers, somehow that the conglomerate beauty sector in these manufacturers owe us something. I
Yeah,
think
he says, right.
anyway.
Let me just jump in right here. What he says they owe us is a 24/7 national hotline for displaced Black women, emergency grant funds for housing, child care, and career transition. They would also owe an upskilling entrepreneurship program inside the very stores where Black consumers already spend. And then he says, beauty industry, where are you? Your customers are calling literally. And I'm like, what? I'm kind of confused. Are you guys following us here? This
And when it was a obviously political causation, he wants it to be solved by private sector,
right.
and that is, it's cute and it's good for a book and it's cute, but One has nothing to do with the other.
Yeah, the I don't know, would this be an attack, or I don't want to be, melodramatic myself.
It's
misleading is what it is.
It's out of context. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. This out of context beauty industry, where are you? Your customers are calling. What were we supposed to do? I think this is the government's. And to my understanding, these companies, they do lots and lots and lots of, they already do some of this stuff. They have lots of funds that, they donate oodles and oodles of money, to various programs throughout the United States and around the world.
For the sake of entertainment, it's a good entertainment piece. It's a good entertainment. It's good shock factor.
Clickbait.
Yeah. And it's good. But once again, don't use our industry in the beauty industry. Don't use these things to conflate arguments. That's
to sell a book. Yeah. Because what I find with people like this, and this is where y'all know me, Kay, LaWanna, Michelle, y'all know what I'm about. I don't like encroachment is real. Now, I mean, it's a fine line between, are we gatekeeping who could come in and who could come out? And the answer is, hell yeah, we are. Because I can't go to a university talking about I'm the professor hair and I got a PA professional hair degree. They're like, well, that's cute and all, but get your butt back behind that chair. I mean, I think we gotta know our lane and stay in it. And I do feel that if these people who love to encroach, because he could go on a speaking circuit and make lots of money and not give back to the very people he wants to help. And that's what I see what happens when professors and, people outside of our industry, they come in and they pluck the audience, as if we're not able to fulfill their needs. This is how we get into this protective hairstyles. You'd be surprised how many people in academia are making a killing off of making products, starting businesses. I mean, they are really fueling this protective hairstyle situation, which in the beauty industry, this is the cardinal sin of hair care. So I think it might be hard to get some professors on who want to spar with us about it, because I don't think they understand. So since
it's not even a fair debate, because at the end of the day, they, the protective hairstyle is a made up thing.
All right, let's see in the chat. How many people in the chat believe that the protective hairstyles is a made up thing? And where we're at again, we're 173 episodes in. We're talking about the dumbest shit, and we do mean. I'm talking about the bona fides, if is it bona fides, whatever. The real deal Holyfield. How about that? Dumb shit that people say about black hair.
It's the ultimate.
Yeah, we're talking about protective hairstyles. How many people drank the Kool-Aid and said, you know what? I think I want me a protective hairstyle. What's up, IMCFT? I see y'all over there on Leisha Later. How you doing, baby? What's up, Kylie? Instagram, we appreciate your support. Yeah, we just made up. All right, y'all, come on, keep them coming. How many of you guys think this protective hairstyle thing is like truly made up? Now, before we hop into it, now we know this is America, right? We got to make some money. We're not anti. Go on, say what you want to say. But this natural hairstyling has become the death. I'm talking about it. It chokes the life out of the professional world of hair. So, why do you think people just really now? Because we got two people, right? I personally and professionally, I do feel that academia fueled the protective hairstyles, because a lot of these what they call those meetups and all of that stuff took place on college campuses and libraries, like community centers, things of that, community events. So it happened in the community. Cosmetologists, we in the salon like, girl, hold your head still. I got next one coming. So we're not on this post. So now these people have taken over. So now you have two people, Cheryl, who really fuels it, and then you have people who like just believe it. So if you could, from both sides, how do you think the professionals kind of, I mean, given their scholars, so how could they fall for something so pseudo and then promote it?
The protective hairstyle was a way to fundamentally get to get secular America to accept locks and braids into the secular environment without calling it cultural hairstyling. Now, remember, what a protective hairstyle is today was already worn 30, 40, 50, 60, 70s, and 80s and 90s. So, colloquially speaking, what makes cornrows, afros, braids, dreadlocks, as they were called in the 70s, 80s, 60s, and 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
What makes those now a secular, Googled title called protective hairstyle? Nothing makes it that. And
I got a little video of this lady. She said it is something about it, but let me let y'all see what she had to say. About 34 seconds. Here she go with her braids as protective hairstyle.
I got a question for y'all. So I put my hair in like these little big little dookie braids or whatever as a protective style until I wash my hair on Sunday. This looks like a hairstyle to me. My question is, would you guys wear this hairstyle out? Like for real, would you wear your hair out like this in public? Cause to me, I think I would. Put a little scarf on that hoe and just have the braids hanging out of the scarf. Yeah, that looks like a look. But I don't know. What do y'all think?
okay, so
I'm taking a deep breath because I got to know how. Woo!
Right. So she literally thinks that was a bright idea. Now, either this generation is the most arrogant, ignorant generation, or they are truly so disconnected from Black hair care history. You're trying to figure out what is the need for the other. What is the need to make it new as if it never happened? What is the need to not conjoint and to merge? What is it about this generation? And she talked about pickaninny plaits that happened in the 19th century, 20th century. What is it about that this generation needs to form some newness as if they're discovering it further? And she's asking Black people that has worn that shit before. My question is that it has to be ignorance. It can't be anything else.
Okay. All right. The chat got me. I'm supposed to be fast. The chat on fire. Okay. So now I knew this was gonna come up. All right. It may move. What's up, Booski? How you doing? We still on Gaspard Lane, baby.
What's up?
She said, I think it morphed into being used to make African inspired hairstyles acceptable. However, that's not how it initially began. Now, this is where I say the encroachment really just because scholars knew. I'm trying not to cuss these out. I'm trying. They knew it happened before. It was just a simple sentence. Cause you know, like I remember when Biggie. Let me get this out. I remember when Biggie, can't you see? And my kids thought that was like so. I'm like, that's Chuck Mangione, and they was like, oh, Mom, you want like you need to know Biggie did not drop that beat.
No, that
now,
was
he got to know. I'm not
that was Puerto Rican.
Come on now.
That was
my,
Mangione. Yeah.
My kids needed to know.
No, that was Herb Albert.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Herb Albert. You're right. We can get it together. Correct me. Okay. My kids, I could not let my children walk through thinking, don't. Like that was no.
Boom, boom.
No. So that's to me.
No.
Okay. So it happened before. And that didn't mean Biggie wasn't a hit. But I'll tell you who definitely got his credibility, right? You see how she was able to correct me. And that's what I like about hip hop. They made like when they came up, it's a doggy dog world. They said, and introduce him to dramatics. It's so crazy mixed up. Beyonce ain't singing Before I Let Go without bringing in Frankie Beverly. But these mofo scholars, the dumbest, why can't we do that? That didn't take nothing away from Curtis Mayfield.
I don't know. That maybe hair care is a very strong sense of self-esteem for people to be able, and that's that Dunning-Kruger effect. They'll start getting knowledge for 15 to 20% of something, and then they think that that's good enough to tell the rest of the 80. And the problem is when you become to problem solve, 20 is not enough. You got to have the other 180 degrees to finish the circle of a full-bodied knowledge. And so it's not good enough for us to just historically use part of the story, because at the end of the day, I just wish that they would just Google different eras from 1970 to 1980. 1960 to 1970, and look at what they were wearing.
No,
right?
And not only what they were wearing, what they were doing. Okay,
how they were expressing themselves.
Right. We'll watch another one, and this is a person who's trying to, do something to protect her hair, and it's like, again, we're talking protective hairstyles versus protective hairstylists. We're going through the hairstyles. Now we're going to work into the stylist in a minute. But here's this young lady, beautiful head of hair. She's going to try to protect it.
And so I need to make my point about that. But go ahead.
Okay, here we go.
Hey y'all, let's do a protective style because I'm sick of everything. So I'm going to start off by parting the back of my head and then adding some shining gem to the top and the bottom to smooth it out, and then grabbing some rubber bands and throwing those into 3 little ponytails. Then I'm going to take my pre-stretched hair and stretch it some more, and then we're going to take a bigger, thicker section and crochet that in horizontally, and then take a thinner section and crochet that in vertically, just because the smaller section is going to go with our hair, and then the bigger section is going to kind of be its own 2 pieces. Then we are going to start under braiding and then flipping it to the front, trying to keep the same position for a more comfortable braiding situation. But once we get to the end, we're going to add a rubber band, and I try to make sure to add the rubber band at the same spot on each braid, and then we're going to put the curl.
All right, so there you go. She's got to protect that hair. If it was just a name, I could go along with it. But because people literally in their minds, they see added hair, 2-strand twist, cornrow braids, plaits as real protection.
Right. And the hair is natural. We're still trying to, I guess the king of lock himself is trying to figure out what would natural hair need protection from.
Okay, but that's a good question. Keep going. If y'all can write that down,
right.
Drop it in. Go ahead. It's a good question.
Well, as we expand, the key here, the premise of the prideful cultural aspect of a people, to use the very premise to be acceptable by a culture outside of their culture, at that point, you are going into dangerous territory, because the premise of doing it in the first place is to be proud and culturally identified. But you don't do that. You use their acceptance of it to rename it, to codify it in a way as if they don't know that. Because, of course, English language, white folks invented codified language, but to codify it to make it more palatable. The moment you are in your Afrocentric ideology and identity and trying to make something palatable, you are already in the danger of not being able to be, one, authentic, and to really meet your goal, because at that point, your ancestral, your foremothers and forefathers just came out and said Afro and made the entire industrial complex of the military accept it as it was. You didn't need to make it up. You didn't need to call it nothing. You didn't need to say something else. You didn't need to do that, right? And then at that point, Oprah started as an anchor wearing an afro. Everybody wore the cornrows. White folks were not in the dark about your cultural expression and your hairstyles, because what? 17th century, 18th century, 19th century, 20th, you wore them already. Now, if we are at a precipice of 1997 and maybe through 2000 Y2K season, if you guys are having contrasts about that and you need some help, well, don't go progressive and make it up and make it dumb and make it irrational and illogical. Go back and get what happened, and what you do is, don't ever try to start over and rename things, because at that point, culturally, collectively, as a group, you run the risk of being illogical, unscientific, and then you move further away from your goal. And that's why we have scholars and you have politicians to create what we call the dumbest piece of legislation, in my opinion, the Crown Act. It's not worth the paper
because I mean,
it's based on something that doesn't exist.
Because not trying to be funny, y'all. And Cheryl is right, and and it's only because y'all did it. I was not for this natural. I said no, y'all. We can't say that, because I mean it's kind of like in your family circle, you might have words that only you and your family know what they mean. Like, for example, in my family, we say it's "feel to the creature." But if you're not in our family, you don't know what that means. You can't take that term out and put it someplace else and say anytime something is about to spill over, we call it to the creature. Because we're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, because
the politics. Now remember, we was in Columbus, right? And they was like, we were talking about the Afro Hair Science bill, but they thought we were talking about the Crown Act and the natural hair, because what they wanted to know, it don't grow from their scalp. Remember, they was like, it don't grow from their scalp naturally like that. Like, they know y'all making this up, y'all. And that's what Cheryl means by y'all trying to create something to get them to accept it, when they already like, y'all hair don't grow out of them braids like that. That's them locks like they know this.
Well, that's what those set of truths are trying, with what we were, talking to Natasha and Erin about on Thursday. We are trying to get on a set of truths, so we can go with a closed fist, and everyone can be in other parts of the world having these set of truths, so we can move the needle, or as my friend Charles would say, move the chains and make some progress, so we won't have our little girls and our nieces and trying to do this over when we are older women. We don't want them screwing around with this when they are going to be probably more least informed than this generation is. The millennial is out of sorts in this conversation. And I can't figure out what is so attractive about making it up.
I can't figure it out either, but
I don't. Because
our
when
birth,
we talk about Black history, right, that's the first thing we want to do. We want to go into some Joseph Binyaki. We want to go into some Dr. Amos Wilson. We want to go into George Jett. We want to go into Ivan Van Sertima, Charles Finch, and Blas, and Dr. Henry Clark. We want to go to the root of something. On hair, for some reason, they are not interested.
but I think I'm gonna tell you what I think, but Sandra says we got to tell them to do this right quick, sure, because it's getting hot in here. So do this right quick, guys. Here you go, right now.
Pump me on, pump me on.
Big ups to the king of lock, Kefele, for giving us this wonderful terminology to use. We're 173 episodes in, and tonight it's all about protective hairstyles versus protective hairstylists. And we're just trying to unravel how in the French toast and bologna sandwich, how are we getting here? And to make sure that my granddaughter and Cheryl's nieces, and nephews as they grow up, that they don't have these same issues. And Cheryl just pointed out something very poignant, and that is the very nature of trying to make this protective hairstyle fit is this codified language where we're trying to get, Whitey to say, well, if it's a natural protective hairstyle.
Yeah, they didn't go for that shit.
Yeah, they know they're like
go for that shit. And as they shouldn't.
And then we have history. Let me pull that picture up again. And this is what I'm saying. If you are a scholar, you work in the military, whatever, how do you not know? She said, this had to be around the mid or late 19.
Yeah, this is 1968.
Okay, 1968. There's her father. Aboard a USS Okinawa. I don't know I think that's an LPH. Mm-hmm. And then to your left or right of your screen, depending on where you're situated, there's all his books and pics. So, but your father did not feel a need to make up something.
No, we weren't making it up. Science made it so. Science set the stage. Science was the study. Science was the basis of the research. Science was about the world's first human hair, the most dominant gene expression of human hair. And so that saved that. And though you're talking to obviously European brass, high-ranking military, they didn't have a problem with it because they knew that they needed something.
Absolutely. And they knew they didn't know shit. Everybody.
And they needed to get it done. They needed to fix the morale of the problems within the military and at any means necessary, even if it meant. But at the same time, because military is one of those institutions that deal with science and facts and research and studies, they didn't have time for Mr. Morrow to be coming up there pseudo, making shit up as he went. They had researchers and doctors in the military that needed to authenticate what Mr. Morrow had come up with. And it had to be sound. It had to be critical. And so after that, that is one of the reasons why we have case law. Case law is to have an established footprint, benchmark. So when we use future cases or things that go into the future, we reference back. Mm-hmm. For some reason, we don't reference.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I get so upset. I'm not apologizing, scholars, because you guys have the opportunity to fix it. Because remember now, the military supposedly or allegedly sets the tone for how we are to act as citizens or civilians or whatever they want to call us, right? And so the military had done their part. Now, the scholars, it's your job. Just like I told my son, no, Biggie, that was not a new beat. It didn't take away from the hit of the song. It still remains one of the best hip hop songs, depending on how old you are, because I still say KRS-One, but that's a whole nother, I digress. But anywho, it still remains. And but my children knew exactly who was responsible for the beat, for some reason, when it comes to this hair thing, like Cheryl said, the need to make it up as it goes along is out of control. My response to that is this: it's a money grab. The attention that you can get from that is like
I mean, you
like,
can go from zero to expert like in one sentence.
yeah.
Something come to your mind. And you know, I would be the first one to say that cosmetology and beauty and black hair care and in all sectors and segments of the entire beauty industry, that the professionals should be writing the books. No
Right.
doubt about it.
No doubt about it. And we should be helping with the information. Like in the other video, she said that she was sick of her hair. When you start to promote something called protective hairstyles under the guise that somehow this
Right, that you need to
that
fix it up and keep it away,
that
or
is
create a boundary and put synthetic something over it. It really, we really as professionals in black hair care want to know what is it about virgin, natural, unchemically treated hair that makes it so vulnerable that you guys are willing to create an additional other industry that actually fails to do the very job that you say because you made it up in the first place. So therefore, now, because you've been protecting it with a lot of other elements,
elements, right?
the synthetic, and now there's toxins in that.
Right.
Now we're gonna make that up because we're not really scientifically sound in that.
Because let me just play that clip again right quick so y'all can hear what she said, just to drive home your
Hey
point.
y'all, let's do a protective style because I'm sick of everything. So I'm going to start off my part in the back of my.
As she says, I'm going to start out with a protective hairstyle because I'm sick of everything.
And now, right, she didn't finish that because she was too embarrassed to finish it. She does not like the way her natural hair without anything. She doesn't want to do it, and she's sick of it not looking fashionable enough that makes her feel good.
Right.
And
so right. And so here is another young lady who kind of figured out what Cheryl is saying. Here she goes.
I think I've been lied to because I thought that wearing like braids and crochet and just like keeping her in a protective style, I'm doing air quotes, would grow my hair out, but actually it actually broke my ends off. And I think it's because I would forget to like spray my hair with a hair tea or like conditioner water and keep my hair moisturized. And I think that doing these mini twists kept me accountable because I could always feel if my hair needed to be moisturized. I can always just quickly spray my hair with hair tea and style it that way. It would just keep it protective in my scarf. Plus, I'm kind of falling in love back with my hair because, to be honest, hair dysmorphia could be a thing because you can get used to just seeing yourself with weave and not be confident when you're wearing your natural hair.
That was a lot. Thank you, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. It's getting hot. It's getting nappy in here.
And you know, I really do think that black women in the eras of probably maybe 1999 into present day are a bit dysmorphic.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you're talking about, I'm never gonna understand how you want a hairstyle. It's a style now, y'all. It's a style. That you say you want it fixed, or you want to leave it on your head for 6 to 8 weeks and 4 to 6 weeks, and I'm just 6 to 8 weeks, go beyond 6 weeks. I've even seen weaves that are recommended to stay in for 6 months and under the guise of protective hair. You know, our mother braided down.
I even think the language they feel is protecting them as well. I have spoken to, and like I tell you, I've done hair coaching and spoken to thousands of women. They are literally talking themselves into the most strangest thought processes and belief systems. And so even the language is protecting them.
Mm-hmm.
They have an answer for everything. They have an answer for what. And then, of course, during the consultations or the hair coaching sessions, you're just in talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
And what they believe is so, and what they believe to be true, without anyone even telling them.
Right. And I think to Main Move's question, where are the knowledgeable stylists who offer guidance to these young women? Mentorship and guidance is not only necessary for those entering the professional, so much room for education. And
I would agree.
salon, yes, and I would say, as in any other industry, you have people who don't do it, but the cosmetology, career itself, have been known for teaching. That's what they do. They help people understand their hair. Now, not all of them. We can't lie and say that doesn't
nothing
happen.
is all
Right.
across the board.
But that is what happens in hair salons. I think that because hairstylists, they're coming onto these platforms. It's more like a doctor patient situation where you don't really want to disclose I won't put certain things on social media either, just to prove a point that I'm helping out. And I'm just going to say this, I've participated in events where hairstylists have come out to help, and I've seen them do things that were unethical just to get attention on social media. So some of this stuff is done behind closed doors and not on social media. But I think you'd be hard pressed to go across any community in the United States of America, no matter how rich or how poor, and you won't find some type of an outreach to the public from professionals to help children and families with their hair. Some of them, you might see them highlighted on the news of helping foster parents, transracial adoption. I mean, the list goes on. So the beauty industry has a wonderful, wonderful reputation of being there for the public. I think that when it comes to marketing it on social media, we've been kind of weak on that, because I just think that was something that we felt was, like I said, more in-house, that you don't share all this stuff. And we do things like what we're doing here, a podcast, to help counterpoise some of this mis and disinformation.
Absolutely. And two, let's recognize that we spent the last 15 years, and probably maybe from starting of 1997, and I want you guys to realize that as in 1994, 93, 95, 6, we do realize that the industry, black hair care and the other beauty industry, which was part of when Aveda was coming of age, it was going to more natural ingredients. But how this trust factor began to widen against black hair care, and then what we call natural hair care. Natural hair care needed, unfortunately, to have a villain. And black hair care served as that villain. And so now we are getting back, and we want to act like the education was never there. And I want natural hair care to understand that that was a lie.
Mm-hmm.
This industry to know it was a lie. But it was a convenient, as they would say, America says that slavery was a necessary evil. Well, black hair care taking the brunt and being the poster child of chemical waste dumps and all of this other craziness that we did take the brunt of, that was a lie. And that was, I guess, a necessary evil, because during that era, we have the largest acquisitions of indie brands, Carol's Daughter, and things of that nature. Those brands did not even make it out of 10 years.
Yeah.
Make it to legacy. And so we want to be able to get our reputation back, and that we were always there as the underbelly to underwrite your ignorance. We underwrote your ignorance. And that's fine. But now that we're here, And we do need to have what we call an unlearning. We need to have an unlearning because there's so much YouTube information. There's a lot of information in the way.
Yeah,
Maybe
because
too
yeah,
so,
you can kind of trace the path when you look at the natural hair movement, how it just kind of grew. I would definitely say before there was a term influencers, people just had channels and chats and blogs with just opinions. But then you started seeing people,
they
with
institutionalized it into expos, and everybody else started copying some of the
the speaking
words.
circuit. Yeah, the speaking circuit. Oh my God. I'm on that speaking circuit.
Right,
I'm on that speaking circuit, and let me tell you, it's money, honey, on the speaking circuit to talk about this thing called hair. And if you're on some really good circuits now, you have to be really vetted and so on, and they put you on the screen, and I was surprised. I was being vetted by one organization, okay, and so we had to all come into the Zoom, and you had to present your what you're going to talk about and to be a part of their organization. And I was surprised at the level of PhDs and MBAs and all the lettered people, LPCC and the LISW, who wanted to talk about hair. And here I am, a cosmetologist, and they like, boo, you can't rock with us. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what y'all doing here? And I get it, free enterprise. I'm not knocking them, but baby, let me tell you, they did not get selected. I just want to say that. I went in like, shut them down. I shut them down. But that's, to me, that's where you see the biggest uptick. Once scholars got into it, they took it and they ripped it. I mean, they added a whole nother layer of pseudo isms, knowing. Like, I remember this one lady, she talked about, how the Egyptians have the cone on the head? You ever seen that glyph? And she said that the cone on the head was like a scalp treatment or something like that. And I was like, what is she saying? Now, I am not what you call those people? A hieroglyph, what you call them people? Yeah, one of those people. Look, I can't even. Thank you, anthropologist or Egyptologist or whatever. But I know there is nothing written on no hieroglyphs about the cone on the head being a hair conditioner. That was from a scholar, and I'm like, girl, ain't you scared? So where do you think that brazenness comes from to feel so comfortable to just, again, as you say, make it up as they go along from scholars?
Yeah, I think that there's a historical fact that Black people raised their literacy faster than any other group on earth. But underneath that, I think they hold on to this notion that Black people are illiterate or ignorant, and then they're always, now that we kept you uneducated and illiterate. Now we're going to create an industry to make you literate, right? And so everything about you, even though, of course, I think the most profitable part of the history of cable is History Channel, KPBS, Public Access, Nova, Discovery Channel, and cable channels like that make a lot of money on Africa. And so now they all want to use their education and their prowess on the fact that they know something about you that you don't know.
Here's the image here that I was talking about. And on her presentation, she was saying that this was a hair treatment. And I was like, but listen, and I talked to you, Cheryl, tell the truth. Well, now I'm trying to be a protective hairstylist, and I was in a class where they were saying some stuff about clogged follicles. And when I went to say, well, they practically, they put me out the class. And they said I was a troublemaker. And Cheryl said that you don't need to spend money with them. And so I stopped. but it's just that kind of stuff. So sometimes, even when you try to say something, like I would never correct somebody in the middle. I was not trying to do that. I was just, saying, like, can they explain how the follicle, I tried to hit it the right way. And they said, oh, no, you can't come in here with that. I was like, oh, shit, the
Yeah,
dummy shit that you teach about black hair. So
yeah.
to say that these were combs to treat the hair, I just was like, why? But why?
And,
You
and,
know?
and let me just say this: they believe, as a black woman, that for some reason, culturally, because black people are historically and culturally, spiritually, and ancestrally, and tribally sometimes connected to each other,
Correct.
and all people of color are like, we do and borrow similar practices, and all archaeologists um, will attest to that.
Testify. Okay.
Now, but here we go again. We may do it differently, and they don't understand that black people themselves may be the best to to do uh, the kind of deductive thinking. You know what I mean? To kind of do the cultural significant and to do some of the cultural investigation. Why would we do that? We're just descendants of slaves, right? We're
Mm,
just, our parents were just sharecropper, ignorant, and didn't graduate, above a third grade education. And see, that is that notion that if we didn't get it in school, we didn't get it at all, because black people do get oral tradition, right? We
correct.
have talked to our grandmothers and great grandmothers, and we have done all these things, but they don't believe that we are the best, because, of course, again, somehow psychologically, if you study something, therefore you become it. It's almost like it's a study of association. But the moment we do it, we don't have, even though we have more ancestral energy and synergy and things of that nature on our own study and investigation and cultural
Mm-hmm.
investigation, that is not enough. We
Wow.
must be educated by Europe in order for
Mm,
us to have to be able to use, you know, reasoning, our cognitive, prowess in our functions and our high connections to spirituality. No, we couldn't be using any of that.
right, 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 right,
We have to be using westernized scholar in
right.
order to put these things together critically.
Right. And I think that doesn't come up either, because what you don't hear from the scholars is, the Afro Hair Science. Though it's been out for quite some time. And people did not, because if you're really researching, I can't see you researching and not dig back to Dr. Willie Morrow. I'm just saying, if you're a researcher and you don't come across that name, I question how could you? I mean, and that is not insulting in any kind of a way. I just can't see it or on that level with that amount of access to that much research that you can't come across his name.
Right, you can't come across science without coming across George Washington Carver.
Yeah, that's
Can't
just
do it heart surgery without coming across Dr. Hill Williams. You're not going to do parachutes and military artillery without coming across George Ramsey. You're not going to be coming against the traffic light and the gas mask without coming against Gaston.
yeah,
It's just
Garrett
not
Morgan. Yeah,
possible. You know what I
yeah.
mean? If you're
But
doing
it Right, but it happens. And so when you said you don't think we have many hairstylists who will teach the client, I think we don't see that many probably on social media. But I think if you went into many hair salons, professional ones now, we're not talking about, what I'm saying. And like I said, it's in the food industry. I'm not saying we're all special, because it's not true. I just want you guys to know that in the topic, in the spirit of the topic of protective hairstyles versus protective hairstylists, it's a matter of you literally, doing your research like you would for your other doctor, your shoes, your purses, whatever, to actually find the professional who will teach you. So here are some clips of some people, because everybody does it differently, and we are going to say things a little bit differently, and that's cool with that. But here are some professionals who are doing exactly what we think and what we know takes place in hair salons to try to help people understand their hair. So here's one. It's about a minute. Here we go.
I refused to do the service that she booked. Let's talk about it. I did a full scalp analysis along with our consultation, and I found out that one, she is a construction worker, so it led to a lot of neglect to her natural hair, and she also suffers from psoriasis. She originally booked for a silk press, but after thoroughly finding out what was going on with her hair, that just was not the best option, so that wasn't happening today. And if you know me, you know I am not a yes man. I am only going to do what is best for the client as far as where their hair is at that present time. Instead, we went with a scalp therapy treatment, which gave her scalp a full detox, a good haircut to give her a good foundation to start from, and some cornrows because she does have glueless wigs. I truly feel like she needs to give her scalp and her hair a total break for a while, considering what her career is. I am sending her home with product that she can use in between her shop visits until I see her again. I am personally excited to see her.
There you go. That's pretty much how it's going down. You assess the situation, yo, what's going on. She said, you know what? If you're a construction worker, she's right. You probably don't want to press a curl, because soon as you start, humpers, there goes that. And you know what? Just braid it down. Keep it simple. Here's some stuff to take care of your hair at home. That's pretty much how it goes down. What would you say to that, Cheryl?
Pretty much. I think her scalp, I tell you guys all the time, a bad scalp should never have oil.
Mm-mm.
Bad scalp should never have oil. There's a reason for that. However, but I agree. She did a really great job.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the scalp, her scalp treatments was a little skeptical to me.
Yeah, a little skeptical. Right, like I said, everybody's gonna do it a little bit different. But yeah, there are more that are needed, but they are out there. I can tell you, I know for me, it's I struggle with trying to be on social media. I like to do more things in the community. I am the community hairstylist because I know the history. I know the history that you should not rather have a hair salon if you're not giving back to the community. I know when we come on Thursday, that's going to be our topic about beyond the chair, but let's just go a little bit further. Let's go and take a deeper dive into some people who do this thing called healthy hair. Now, this one I found her to be quite interesting. I hope I click on the right one. Let's see, is this her? Oh yeah, here she is. This is the San Diego hair doctor. Watch out, sir. Here you go.
I'm the San Diego hair doctor. Of course, I own a hair clinic and not a salon. I'm the San Diego hair doctor. Of course, I'm going to explain to you the human hair strand, your sebaceous gland, and what your follicle is doing. I'm the San Diego hair doctor. Of course, I'm going to protect your hair from any heat damage before I use any type of heat tools. I'm the San Diego hair doctor. Of course, I'm going to customize a product plan according to your individual hair and scalp needs. I'm the San Diego hair doctor. Of course, it's going to move.
All right, we all do it differently, but I'm here to tell you, in the professional world of hair, you're going to see a common theme when it comes to protective hairstyles versus protective hairstylists. For sure, what you're going to hear is what? You're going to hear something about retention. They want you to come back because they want to check up on you and make sure you're okay. For some people, it could be bi-weekly, weekly, monthly, quarterly. Again, Common things. Now, what we say in between is free enterprise. Don't forget that, okay? Number 2, you're going to see something about
low.
You know what I'm saying? And number 2, they're going to talk about what? Refer. Because we have got to stay in business. If you like what you're doing, don't just write me a Google review and like my photos, but can you help a sister or a brother out and send me a customer? Common theme that what you saw in those videos, they were giving those customers an experience so that when somebody asks about their hair, they're going to talk more about the hairstyle, but more about their salon experience. And then number 3, which is what Cheryl talks about all the time, is going to be your retail. This is what's separating the beauty industry, the professional, from the over-the-counter that keeps getting conflated, because we're going to have you buy the things that we recommend that's coming out of our salon, that's salon quality, mostly like kind of FUBU. It's made for us, by us, but there are some salons who don't do that, but nonetheless, you will see that protective hairstylists do some common things. Did you want to add to that, Cheryl?
They're very protective over their clients, and I think that is much more sustainable than a protective hairstyle, because a protective hairstyle could be a lace front, it could be a weave, it could be anything that disavows you from the beauty process for months at a time.
Say it again. I don't think. Let me show you a clip of a hairstyle that's going to disavow you from your hair for months at a time. Here we go, Cheryl.
There's nothing protective about this style. The braids are actually entirely too tight. Not only will she get some breakage at the root, but she'll get a lot of splits in the mid shafts. These splits do not heal, and they'll start to accelerate your balding. Most people cannot take this type of service and come out unscathed. There's nothing protective about this style. The braids are actually entirely too tight. Not only will she get some breakage at the root, but she'll...
All right. So that is a hairstyle. It will keep you. Now, here's the honest question. Exactly what are we protecting it from? Okay. So you had braids. You had some twists, and now you have some micro link locks, okay? And then they talked about, the weave and the wigs, and then of course you can add some hair. So what is it about those hairstyles that you think makes them protective in the consumer's eye? Because for some reason, people believe that when you braid hair in any capacity, or you fix it and you tie it, that somehow, some way, you are protecting that hair. And again, from what? Here we go, Luana. We're gonna see if we can get it out. Y'all, if y'all know in the chat, help us out. Help us out. Help us out.
What are we protecting? What is SCOTUS and all of the lower circuit courts, and all of these judges and magistrates and mediation courts and consultants and lawyers, and what are they supposed to help us do to fight employers and schools? What are we talking about? So help us tell them what we are doing with our hair at this point.
What? Don't laugh at me, y'all. Are you asking, so what are we protecting them from? Is that no?
I would like to know, what would you like the Supreme Court of the United States, lawyers and attorneys, magistrates and judges, mediators and consultants to know about why you should be able to wear your hair, young men, young women should be able to wear certain hairstyles longer than the length required. What is it about those hairstyles that is a need for you to wear that the law should protect you?
Okay.
What is it?
All right. All
Why
right. We
are
can answer in the chat. Okay. Come on. Come
the
on.
braids aren't
What's
protected?
up, Grand Vet? Come on here. Dixon. What's up, auntie sister? Come on. We looking good on IG. Okay. We
Yeah,
got
well,
to answer. We got to answer. We got one answer. Okay. What do we want the legal people? Why do we want them to protect us? And
when
what?
we explain to them what a protective hairstyle is, what do we say to them? And
Okay.
why
We got one person says we should say to them when we want a law to wear the protective hairstyles, we're saying it's because that protective hairstyle is cultural. Okay.
But you can. You can wear them anywhere legally now.
They say certain states say you can't work with those hairstyles.
That's not what they said. They have, now you have to remember, dress codes. I want everybody to take a breath. I want you guys to close your eyes. If you need
come on, chat. We looking good. Hit the thumbs up button. Come on now.
If you need to cry, you can cry. Okay. You need to look at your neighbor. Okay.
I say live, work, clean neighbor. LB, Michelle Allen, Kate, neighbor.
Right. If you need to understand,
Leisha,
have a moment of silence about what
Genesis,
I'm about to say.
your fine ass, Tish, main moves. Come on, y'all.
All right. If you need to have a moment of silence, okay, I want you to have a moment of silence, and I want you to understand that dress codes are constitutional. They, by law, can tell you what to do, how to wear it, what style they want. Dress codes are constitutionally protected by the Constitution.
Pause right there. I want to make sure that everybody get that. Come on, Instagram. We had to take a deep breath. Okay. I see you, Graham Vet. Come on, we just want to know right now, are you guys aware? Say it one more time because we want to get yes or no in the chat. Just Cheryl gonna break it down because I'm finna mess it up, Cheryl. Say it.
Okay, now. I want
dress codes was how I started off.
Right. I want you to
one
wrap
more time
around your mind that employers and schools and learning institutions, employers, workplaces, okay, colleges, learning institutions have the right by said Constitution of the United States of America, including state constitutions. Dress codes are legal and they have the rights of the Constitution.
All right.
They can tell you what to wear, what not to wear, and so on and so forth. Now,
okay, let me pause you. Hold on. Because we got Graham Vet over here on Instagram saying, I should add, I disagree. Well, it's in the Constitution, y'all.
I don't care what you that's how you guys got the dumbass Crown Act. I know you disagree. I know you do. That's
Graham Vet, maybe I read it out of context. If I did, correct me, baby.
Right. That's why we lose in not one case.
Okay, wait. You got a question
from the Crown Act. Now go ahead.
Okay. So, watch that. I understand. Hold on. But where does it state in the dress code that I can't wear braids, afros, locks, etc., cashmere sweater? Okay.
They didn't say that. That's why 1970, 1965, 1935, 1995, your ass was wearing braids, afros, locks to work. I don't understand what the argument is. Now, most people are not looking at the obvious, but this is why it should be beauty scholars from the hair industry to be able to tell you what 1940, the plantation, 1930, 19 Harlem Renaissance, in certain eras of fashion, in terms of what style means to culture, street, and profession. That's why this information is more conducive as the foundational work of a bill, and not politicians and scholars in the collegiate level that's dealing with contemporary eras that have nothing to do with time periods that will give us and lead us to good legislation and good policy and good bills. Well, now we got this watered down, soft, wet, and pink piece of paper that's not generating case law. Do you understand? I'm asking you, what do you do as a people when your nemesis, an impediment, is part of your opponent? And I'm asking you, if a school or learning institution or employer can have a dress code and the dress code is constitutional, what do we do that has not been done before? Because it was done before. I'm asking you, what are we doing over that we didn't do before? And how can we use what happened before as a basis of what to make our arguments better and more sound, so we won't be fighting dumb shit that don't need to be legislated or need a statutory argument. I'm asking you, what is it, well, now that you know dress codes are constitutional, tell us now, what is it that we were trying to do, as opposed, now that I gave you this commentary, what we need to do? What's logical?
I think so. I hope you guys are following it. We're trying to come up with a logical way, because per Kay Washington's statement, okay, now,
her
post in the chat, she said she remember in the 80s where some black women was losing their jobs because they were wearing them cornrows down in DC. Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. They were not losing them. Now, there's something in the dress code that, what is the problem in the dress code? What's in the dress code? Why are we having problems with the dress code? Go.
Okay. Why are we having problems with the dress code? Let's see if we can get some answers.
Dress code.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, Grand Vet, I got you. Sorry. She was saying, no, sure. She was just saying she don't agree with the reasoning of protective hairstyles. Okay, thank you for correcting me, darling. I got you. It's a delay. I should have waited. Anywho, messy boots. Okay.
So, what's the answer?
So the question is, what should we be saying about why companies actually put the code on the hairstyles in the first place?
Okay, now, so let me ask you guys, have you guys ever noticed that there's no girls in the recent last 10 years dealing with the Crown Act? No girls. Hello? No girls. Why is there only boys?
And we're going to get, this is leading up to the question, guys, of how companies have the dress code that you can't wear the hair.
If we can just get there, then that means we need to be talking about one thing and not this ambiguous conversation that Black people should not deal with when they deal with lawyers and courtrooms and things. We can't go wide. You have to go narrow. What is that thing? And why is it boys most of the time? I would probably say, not to say that workplaces.
Alana said the girls gave up. That's a good one. Why is it mostly okay? Okay, so it's frowned upon for boys to have long hair.
Okay, now, Miss K, that's because every dress code has a what in it? A length requirement. And if the length requirement is constitutional, what should Black people strategically go back into their think tank. You got the National Hair and Braid Coalition in New York think tank. You got all these wonderful, smart, brilliant Black attorneys and lawyers. Where are our constitutional lawyers? What should we be talking about? She just said it is frowned upon. No, baby. There's a length requirement in the constitutional dress code. That dress code belongs to 1960 and 50 and 40. And the dress code is based on a certain class of people. So can we be progressive and have a movement of moving and removing that? Because y'all remember the movie, the sitcom Room 222 back in the 60s. They were arguing about the length requirement in the dress codes, even in the 60s. But for some reason, the largest employer on the planet Earth, called the U.S. military, just all of a sudden said, fuck it. We gonna let these Black men and Black women here wear they are afros. So at the end of the day, we have to examine what happened instead of always trying to make shit up as we go. Because when we do that, we put millions of dollars into legislation, into the lobby process, or lack thereof. And at the end of the day, we create shit like the Crown Act. And we don't realize that every institution changes if they have an incentive to. And we have to make arguments that we understand that dress codes are constitutional. But at the end of the day, like the King of Lock and like Ladosha, and now all of us are asking us, do we want the constitutional protections, or do we want the right to wear a protective hairstyle?
Which one do we?
Because if we want the right to wear a protective hairstyle, we are just historically dumb. If we want the U.S. Constitution, and we've earned our citizenry, and we also want to be in the First Amendment, the freedom of expression, the same rules that people who wear religious regalia, like Jews and other religions, and we want the cultural right to express ourselves and things, we have to start having right arguments and stop having dumb arguments, because dress codes are constitutional. Now, do we rewrite it and we invite the whole community of beauty professionals and we go back to a think tank and we write this shit over?
Go on and write it over that we want the protection under the First Amendment of freedom of expression.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I think once we went with the hairstyle, we lost the expression.
Absolutely.
And when you look at the ruling of the judge in Texas, he was kind of throwing them some hints, y'all.
He was.
He was throwing them some hints. Like,
you didn't put length requirements in it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, guess what the attorneys didn't say? They didn't say, well, their dress code is not length specific either.
No, they went with the they said it's implied. We thought y'all already knew that locks were long. And it's like, come on, man. You're an attorney. You work in law. You know how specific you have to be. The protective hairstyles is not even being protective, because we don't even want to protect it under the First Amendment. We want to go out of the ethos of something that's already existing for us.
So we rewrote it. We did rewrite it. And we now it is conducive to the hours of where you are. It's attached to while at work, while at school, and it is it's a different conversation. But here we are again, and we were talking to the girls last week. We have to think tank. You just can't make shit up.
Because they're waiting. They're ready for it. They know that we're coming in emotionally. They know this already. And all they're going to keep saying, no matter how much we say it, they're throwing a hint. It's in the Constitution. Hint, hint. just go under the freedom of expression, and you're probably going to have a much better chance. And then what's going to happen to
And
me?
offer them history. It
Yeah,
happened already. It
yeah,
happened many times. Institutions make an incentive, for things. And I think in the rewrite, it is comprehensive enough that it matches today's population. I think we are ready to remove the length requirement out of
dress
dress
codes and stuff.
codes. Stop trying to make everybody look like a suburban white boy, because that's what the dress codes are for, to make people look uniform. And it has some class issues.
Right, because people, when you send your children to private schools, you gotta go to school bill and get them little plaid.
That's to make everybody look like they're from Nantucket.
Yeah, they're not. You're gonna wear them plaid. Get your Motown Phillies back on. You see what I'm saying, guys? So this whole protective hairstyle is being very unprotected. It's definitely not protecting the people and the heads of hair that we
protecting
think.
class. It's protecting position. It's protecting whiteness. It's protecting the control over, and it does have roots into the plantation. It has roots in antebellum. It has roots in Jim Crow. It has roots in the aristocrat groups of people versus the peasantry and the gentry of America. When you don't study that, you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. You don't know what you're talking about because you don't know the historic nature of what it is you're fighting. Mm-hmm. And we can do it over, but protective hairstyles has gotten us in trouble because it allows us to rely on culture only. So it's a way to try to sneak Africanness into the secular market or the secular environments, and they're not having it.
Right. Not only that, and then we code switch, in front of them we say protective. When we get into our start, we go African. I see watching y'all out there, hair jewelry. Then y'all come back, Adinkra symbols. I be watching y'all some suckers, man. I'm like, what y'all scared of? Well, y'all be like, I ain't never scared. Let me bun it up. let me get my Nubian, my head wrap. Now it's a head wrap. Come on, dear Black people. We got y'all back. That's why we say now, it sounds very mean when we say the dumbest. And we do mean the dumbest shit that people say about Black hair has got to be those protective styles. They are hairstyles. And if you're wearing them under the guise that somehow, some way, you're going to protect that fiber and let it grow longer, I don't know what. Now, they got so much stuff connected to this protective hairstyling. It doesn't make any sense. No, braids,
you got your question. I'm going to ask
braids ain't never going to protect your hair.
I'm going to ask you a question, Kilo.
Go ahead.
You ready?
Y'all got some questions? Drop them in the chat about these protective hairstyles. We got about 10 more minutes. We got an hour on in. Come on.
Okay,
go ahead, sir.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Do you think the protective hairstyle is a code word for Black women's obsession with long hair?
Repeat that. Repeat that, mother. Repeat it one more time. Say it again.
Do you think that the protection, needing to have a protective hairstyle, is somehow a code word for their obsession with long hair?
Okay, I'm going to let y'all wait while y'all answering that. I'm going to say no. But it is a code word for I don't want to do my hair.
Okay.
That to me. Now let's see if we can come on, y'all. How many people in the chat think that the protective hairstyles is code word for longer hair? Or is it code word for I don't want to and I ain't got to? That's another one. It's probably more I ain't got to do my hair than anything. So I don't want to say I don't want. I'm going to slide a little bit on I don't want to.
And the reason
I'm going to be staunch on that protective hairstyles is code language for I don't want to do my hair, whatever
The
do
reason
is.
why I'm asking that, because most, I would say average, 6 inches, 6 inches, right? Why do you guys go from here to here? And the reason why it's very peculiar to me, how we would go protective hairstyles is always longer than their actual hair.
Or thicker.
Do you guys see a correlation? And the reason
they're saying it's probably both. Okay, so y'all think it's a combination of them both. Okay, that was your point. Okay, Grand Vet. Okay. Yeah. I now see this again. I'm picking on the scholars, and I'm not apologizing. I'm not going to apologize. Why? Because there is no history. I repeat, and I am not a historian. But what I know for shizzle, my nizzle used to dribble down it. Hey, ain't no history of no African that did not comb or do something to that head. Now, I'm not going to be so naive to think the way that they were depicting them on the hieroglyphs is how everybody looked. No more than that's how I look on this screen. If I wipe these eyebrows off or take this lipstick off, I do not look. So I get it. But I will say the attempt to put, or the deliberateness in portraying Black excellence, that's what Black folk do. So this is when I get into the scholar's butt about some finger combing. You know good and well that a comb was one of the oldest artifacts found when they started digging up them bones. So why are you sitting over there talking about something? Oh, you can finger comb your hair because it's going to be more gentle. Where's that in our history? This is what makes me upset with these scholars, because they know that now, is it an option? You want to do it, so on and so forth? No, but it takes a cosmetologist to tell you why you should not be finger combing your hair. And if a cosmetologist is telling you that, then you're going to say, hey, you know what? She's wrong. Go to somebody else. Like people say, it's like Jimmy Kimmel. Say wrong stuff all the time. You ain't got to believe all of it. But that right there, Cheryl, that's when I just say, cut it. Them lights so thick, you need to cut it. Just cut it out. This is where I think this protective hairstyle it gets out of control, and the money grab is real. And what we end up with are angry people who are disappointed because emotionally they are tied into the lie. So now you're telling me.
And let me ask you a question. So can we also, because I think that Black women especially are in between a rock and a hard place. And this is where the dishonesty is. Would you like your hair to be easier?
All right. What's up, Teresa? How you doing out there? What's up, Trish? Trish said, would you like your hair to be easier? Trish said it's the first time she ever heard protective styles equal African style. Girl, that's the whole argument. All of them braids are what? African tribal braids. They call all that stuff protective hairstyle. Nubian.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question.
All that stuff.
Right. What Black American hairstyle is considered a protective hairstyle? They're all African descending, right?
No, maybe we wrong, sure. Maybe we don't know what we're talking about.
Okay. Now, would you like your hair to look thicker, bigger,
longer?
You like it longer? And I think if Black women can really really be authentic and say protective hairstyles allows me to separate my lack of know-how, lack of technique, and lack of
regimen
and budgeting, and it just allows me to get the style that I wish my hair was naturally. It just allows me to not to have the responsibility to seeing how dissatisfied I am with my natural hair. It allows me not to see that.
right.
And once we get to that, and you can say that to your stylist, you can say that to yourself, and you can say that to your hair coach, we can get on a path that allows you to stop your dysmorphia. Because your emotional body wants one thing, and that's okay. We need you to consciously validate that, but we need to also consciously have the skills to get you what you want, and for you to maintain that, and to create phenomenon and enigmas out of our dysmorphia, out of our distortion, out of our distorted belief systems and disinformation. If we can just get to the point, go ahead.
You're right, and stop trying to because what's happening is they're trying to pacify. That is it in its lowest, because you got better, words and levels, especially when you get into mental health. But on a very elementary level, you're talking pacification, because a lot of people grew. I know, I'm just gonna talk about me. I ain't gonna talk about y'all. I'm talking about Kilolo.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you right now. When it came time to comb my hair, it was like catch me if you can. Pee. Or I can say a rabbit here. It was just I would cry and cry. And I'm talking about, I was just and they were like, "Dang, don't you just sit still?" I was crying myself. Can you just hold my hand? I was like, to be strong. And I was just and you know what it really boiled down to? It wasn't even that it hurted, but I would be on the phone, just whoop her ass. That was what you don't beat your kids, Gene. Just beat her ass. Just whoop her. And I would be like, "Oh, just whoop my daddy." I would be calling on Jesus, everybody, And you know what it boiled down to? I just didn't want to sit still. I wanted to go and play. So we have, as children, as we grow up, we start telling ourselves some new narrative. You know how Black folks do. My mama put that relaxer in my head, then burn out. That shit didn't happen. And then sometimes it did, but it don't matter, because what happened at 7, you're going to get a whole new head of hair. And so I just think that some people have had some serious trauma with their hair. And then some people like me, I just did not want my hair comb. I don't care what you don't want. You can cry. You don't get that hair comb. And so, but some people didn't get that. And so now you have this adult pacification, and now you have these hairstyles that people are trying to pander, like you said, to that emotional side. And I know with me becoming a cosmetologist, it was birthed out of my career as an outreach worker, working with families who were not following their reunification plans. The list goes on. And when it boiled down to why didn't you show up for your hearing? Or why didn't you do, And at the end of the day, it was like, shit, because I had my hair done. I'm like, what? I ain't gonna want my hair why did you mule the drug? I was muling them drugs. I need to give me some hair. So you're muling drugs to buy hair weave? Yep, okay. The list just goes on and on and on about this whole hair thing. But a lot of it was boiling down to, I don't want to do it. I want to sleep in. I want to have sex. I want to go to the gym. I want to work some extra hours. I got to nurse this baby. I got to mop this dang on flow. I got homework. I don't want to do this hair. So here's a protective style that you can teach. You can be a scholar, a mother, a ballerina, a baby mama. You can use some drugs. You can do whatever, and leave it in for at least 6 to 8 weeks, and your hair gonna be protected. When you take it down, you're gonna have all this hair. And I'm like, lies. And that's, you can't protect it though, because the hair, like you said, you emotionally, you want one thing, but your hair is telling you in so many ways, bruh, like your teeth. Ain't no teeth, you ain't got to brush and floss. There's just no such thing. Ain't no vagina. I want
I
to
can't
get some
have no
soap.
protective. I mean,
I can't no protective panties and protective soap. It just ain't no protective panties. It just don't happen. Ain't no
ain't no protective teeth.
Ain't no protective earplugs. No, your ears gonna make some wax. You gonna have to get out. Ain't no. It's an orifice, guys. I hope you guys can see where we're going with this, and that's what it requires. So she said, "What should the new name should be?" We used to call them back in the day when people didn't want to do their hair. We would call them updos, like put up in an updo. It's called a hairstyle, but it ain't protecting. Call the style what it is, a braid.
I think
style.
Mr. Thondo Kefele was basic. He got it.
What'd he
They
say?
don't want to do their hair. It's protecting the hair from them.
How many agree with Tondo? The king of locks says protective hairstyles really means protecting your hair from you and them thoughts and them fingers and all that other stuff y'all be buying. Is that true? Okay. Trish says, yep, she ran into a lot of that. A lot of people said they wanted a style where they did not have to worry about their hair. Now, some people have legitimate reasons, like they work out, and they have a busy schedule. Yeah.
I have
Okay.
never had a busy schedule that I need to not wash my face, brush my teeth, wash my ass.
I think, and I think that to May Move's point, this is where the professionalism has to kick in, and we have to tell the truth. There's no way, there's no hairstyle that should be on that head. 4 weeks, okay. Now you moving into 6, 7, unless you're just like incapacitated, like you're in the hospital, you're can't walk. That's a whole different. But even the hospital won't let you do it. Even if they match your hair, they're gonna wash it. Because I've had a lot of customers who, but we don't have a history of really being, too busy for our hair. I mean, again, that ain't we make. No, y'all.
Y'all stay on.
If it wasn't calm, you just didn't go.
Y'all, if y'all can do this,
put a wig on.
Y'all can comb. Y'all can do this.
I think the expectations on the look, like people look at my hair. Listen, I work in a hair salon. You will rarely see my hair with curls in it. That expectation is too high. Now, when I was a fly girl, hoochie mama, and I ain't had no job, I was out here caking them. That was my job, to be cute, so I could get me a little, sugar daddy. My ass is old. You can't get no sugar daddy nobody to get a job. I'm just telling my truth, okay? That wasn't gonna work, boo boo. I think I had that for about a year. Well, like, you get your ass a job, Yeah, it's our job to tell people there is the only hairstyle you could really get up and just go was the carefree curl, the Dr. Morrow's California curl. But then y'all laughed that out. That one you could get sweaty and you can do whatever you want to do on that. Doesn't require a lot. But there is no hairstyle. We call them hairstyles. Whatever hairstyle you give them.
I thought going natural was one of the reasons why they were so prideful and proud of their hair, that it would cause them to do their hair more. So now that we have an era that they don't even
want to do it. Yeah. Just you tell them these are braid hairstyles, leave them in for up to 4 weeks, take them out. These are 2-strand twist hairstyles, because the longer you leave it in, the hair is going to matte. I mean, I don't care how much bonquisha juice you spray and all that stuff about some moisturizer. I'm sorry. Y'all know I'm bugging tonight. What's up, Facebook, LinkedIn? Again, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. We're talking about protective hairstyles versus protective hairstylists. The protective hairstylist is going to tell you what you need to do and call it what it is. It's a hairstyle. You cannot protect it. Locks are locks that requires maintenance. Braids are a braid style that requires what? Maintenance. Just like Cheryl said, why do we feel a need to make something up? Yeah. Why? And I struggled with that. I can speak to that. And I cried and I looked, and Kefele thought, you a sucker. You up here crying like that in front of these white folks because it was messing with my money. I'm just talking about me. So that's why I was afraid. Now I'm just talking about me. And like Main Move said, we need to get this education so we won't be saying this crazy stuff. Because Cheryl said, well, why do you feel the need to tell them it's a deep conditioning and all this, that, and the other? And I'm like, it's my money, Cheryl. Come on, my dog. That can't be it. But it wasn't. That was my truth. So again, just because that's what you want, it's just not, it's not going to work. Just tell the truth.
Why and why can't we
wash and go? You just wash your hair and you win. It ain't no protective hair.
You can only do that with salon services, salon treatments. You can only wear those things and come every 2 weeks, boom, bam, bam, and that's fine. Or like you said, a curl. You know what I mean? And there's just certain things you can do.
Yeah, she said she had an elderly client who will wear her hair, her extension hairstyle, for 6 to 8 weeks or more. And I have to, she got to tell her, come on, let me take that out. Yes, there is your professional. We told you guys, we do this. Thank you. Can we give Yate a big round of applause? I keep telling y'all, there are professional hairstylists who will step up to the plate. And she didn't say she was mean about it. She'll call her up and say, come on in, baby. Come on in, Miss Jones. Come on. At our salon, we're a teaching salon. So when you come in, that's our consultation. Our goal is to teach you how to take care of your hair. That's what we say. Our job, for real, we tell people to teach you how to love yourself through taking care of your hair. If you don't, you would give me all of your money. I tell them the truth.
You guys have no idea.
We tell our clients the truth. Don't mess around these hair salons. Your ass is gonna be broke.
And let me just say this: there is a lot of the disorders, mental disorders, and things of that nature that I'm aware of. But to get a sister and to sit down and to get on, and for us to get on the same page, we have to go through truth telling. And
all right.
Honesty,
Grab Vet over here said, I think that flat twist without added hair is more protective, but not for an extended period of time. So she's saying the same. She said she was born in the 50s, so she'd have been through it all. All this, and it ain't nothing new under the sun. Don't say protective hairstyles because it puts something in the psyche of the customer that something is
and let's
happening.
just be honest too.
And it's not.
When you guys start adding things onto your natural keratin fibers, and you start adding fibers, okay, foreign fibers.
Here's Tristan.
You guys are you guys are worried about the style staying, so you can be lazy. That's just it. That's just it. You guys want these hairstyles to stay frozen in time.
And let me just tell you, as my mother used to say, you ain't fooling nobody but yourself. Men know that it smells awful. That was probably the kickoff to my popularity on social media, was the number of men and women who talked about their partners' hair being so smelly. I mean, we could go on for days that this is not really a good thing to promote. Like she said, she caught herself putting some mini twists in, and the hair was so big and tangled. She didn't even leave it in for 2 weeks. And I've had braid extensions. I'm not leaving that stuff because I already know what's going to happen. I took them things out of 2 weeks. Yep, I paid every bit of $300-400, but I wanted the hairstyle because I just, wanted to see what it was like, be cute or whatever. But I'm not leaving that stuff in my hair for no 6 weeks. I spent $600. Then get a cornrow brace. I wanted that you could take down, but don't leave that stuff in under the guise that you are protecting your style, because you're going to get hairstylists who's going to do what, and barber stylists, what Yate
it is a foxy word.
To her client, you're going to get this. Come on, baby. Come on back in and let me take that out. Don't leave that stuff in. The scalp is a microbial habitat. And if you think the vagina got something coming out of it, baby, you know. I'm just saying. I'm telling the truth according to proof. Don't try to mess around with these. I'm telling y'all, leave that protective hairstyle stuff alone. The notion of leaving those braids in for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time.
And
you remember that?
That's right. The 6 months sew in.
Yeah, that is a real technique coming out of Virginia Beach. There's a core group of, not all. I ain't gonna try to make Virginia look bad, okay? But there is a school of thought that once you see all this regrowth and you take this hair down, that's the length that you would have, from you not touching it. But
let me ask you a question. So do you guys think that, why don't you guys believe the hair grows out of a protective hairstyle the way it grows in a protective hairstyle? Why don't you guys see the growth when your hair is just out? Why do you
I can tell you why. Because they sit there and they do this. Come on, Yate. Is my hair, is it still the same length from when I was here the last time?
So
do you think it's grown?
So
do you think it's grown any longer?
Okay, now you see how I just circled back to that damn length and got you guys to admit I'm good at what I do.
Come on.
I know it's about length. And I want you guys to understand, okay? It's okay to be westernized. You are. You're westernized. Okay? Length, unfortunately, is diametrically opposed to being black, but that's a whole nother story. But at the end of the day, you cannot fight culturally for something trying to keep it in the confines of a white beauty standard. You have got to make up your mind. What are you doing? Which side are you fighting for? You don't want to get rid of the Western beauty standard. The Western beauty standard is hair has to be here. But we already know the African principle is hair's got to be up there. It's got to be round, out, volume, mass, then weight. Doesn't grow that way. So either you're going to be in the Afro Science principle and be in your Afrocentric ideology, pathos, logos, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be in that, or you're not.
Look at Kat. What? No length? Sir, what's up?
There you go. I knew it. You guys are obsessed with length more than white girls. Y'all got the, man.
Let it go. Come on, Elsa. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Just say it. Y'all love y'all some length, boy. Ooh, got to have it, baby. Got to have it. Got to have
it. Well, to Madam Flair's point, whether you braid it and wear it for 6 months or take it down and shampoo it and do it every month or every 3 weeks, it's gonna grow. It's gonna grow. Your hair grows for free. You know, you ain't got free. For free it grows. Now you want to keep the length, you got to do some certain things, to keep that. But a protective hairstyle,
but length accumulation is synonymous with Western ideologies of beauty. I mean, to be obsessed with it.
I love this. She says to her client, let it grow out. Beautiful. Let that hair grow out. Then she can go ahead and put some locks. She's not going to you can't go to her every 2 to 3 weeks talking about let me get a new palm roll. She says, no, you can't do that, guys.
Let me get a
yeah, let it grow out. Okay.
Don't you guys know that a curl does not have a length in just curl math? Nothing in the universe that length is never part of the equation. Don't you know that a curl is diametrically opposed to a straight line? I mean, it's not even logical. And I'm just trying to say, I know you guys talk a good game with that pride and that culture and with everything for the culture. I know y'all love the culture. I'm glad to be on this planet with y'all black folks. I know y'all in love. However, can we be in love with what's real, what's scientific, and what's scientific? What's research and what is sound? What makes sense? And we can get there. The story straight, the history straight, the nature straight, the
Professionals,
equation.
psychologists, innovators, and icons, the Afro Hair Education.
Can we get it, all straightened out?
I think after this live, because we're getting down to because remember now 2025 is the year. We're winding down on this topic. This month, we because every month we have a theme because we're getting ready to make 2026 the year of nothing but solutions. We ain't talking this dumb stuff no more. So here we're so what's happening up on Thursday, we're coming back with the last of our series on hair salons versus salon loss. We're critiquing that whole debate, and we're going to conclude with beyond the styling chair. We're going to get into this topic here a little bit more about what more could we be doing beyond the chair. So according to this gentleman, I forgot his name just that quick. He said, beauty industry, where y'all at? Okay, where y'all at? Holla. So we're going to go ahead on and conclude on that discussion. We have one more that we're going to talk about on Monday. This is going to conclude our series here. And this one was, what did the natural hair movement teach us about these hair care products? And as y'all can see right now, according to this topic, right? When it comes to them protective hairstyles, nothing. You're better off with the hairstylist who's going to help you with understanding your hair, okay? Not protecting it. That's not a good word. Just call them hairstyles. At the end of the day, they are hairstyles. You can put any adjective, but protective is probably not a good one.
Yeah, we can come up in wordsmith and, where are my linguistics?
Yeah, where y'all at? Keep your fingers out your hairstyles. How about something like that? Hands off hairstyling, something like that. Next week, we're going to close this one out about what's this cost, because the cost of doing all of this stuff is costing people more than just hair. So we have to talk about how is all of this costing you guys. We got to go into this the psychology. Somebody dropped in the chat something called psychotherapy. So we could see that mentally it's definitely, messing with some people emotionally. So we're going to talk about the emotional, the mental, the cultural, the financial, all the effects of how this natural hair movement has cost you guys. I think we did a great job. You all have been absolutely wonderful. And I'm with you, Teresa. Come on, y'all. It's time to just love y'all hair. Rather just love it. If you want to embellish it, but ain't nothing wrong with your hair, okay? Nothing wrong with your hair. Y'all doing a good job. Cheryl, anything else you want to say before we close this out? Thank you, everybody on Instagram. Y'all rocked it out with us. So, Cheryl.
I just appreciate for us at least trying to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And poor hair care practices. Thank you, Miss Ladybug.
Yeah, we're going to address that. We're going to help you guys out so you can understand, what does it really take? It can't be hands off. That's
and again, to thank you for your consistent tuning in and trying to understand something that has a lot of momentum on being wrong. Has a lot of momentum, and we realize that. We're not trying to get you to, stop on a dime and do about face, but we also, it's not the fact that it's almost like they say about this Trump 47. The environment created his presidency. It's not the fact that's about him. The results we're getting and how we feel about ourselves, we made it conducive, the environment for influencers, YouTube University. We made, the lack of attention that we, at cosmetology as a board, we created all of the subsequent environments for us to be and disinformed. We're just not going to do it anymore. We are going to join together and band together and make a difference and try to peel back the onion. That's what the dumbest shit. I know we call it the dumbest shit, but the dumbest shit is an onion. Has a little kernel of a start and it grows out. We just peeling it back.
Peel back that onion. All right, guys. You have been absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't had the opportunity to hit the thumbs up button since y'all rocked it out with us, we want to get in those algorithms too. That's another wonderful way that we can most certainly beat down and just kill some of this disinformation. Absolutely. And get you guys on the right path. And again, we're going to be back on on Thursday, concluding our series on Planet Pluto Pseudo. And this one, we're talking about Beyond the Styling Chair on Thursday. That one, again, is for licensed professionals. And we're talking 101 episodes in. And like Cheryl said, we appreciate you guys so very much. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe on your way out. Come back and see us. Any questions you have, post live, drop them in the chat, and I'm gonna make sure I answer because I know I don't know as much as her. All right, guys. So you're the bomb.com. We love you guys.
You are the bomb, man. You the bomb.
Wonderful, wonderful. You know what we're signing out, right? A whole lot of peace, a whole lot of love, and a whole lot of hair. But check it out. If you ain't got it, don't want it, can't stand it. You got some little bald patches. Keep your little ponytail, your little weave, and don't worry about that. Why? Because all that's beautiful too, and so are you. Deuces, my good people. Have a wonderful night. Sure, you ready for the chit chat tonight?
I'm ready.
Bam, bam, bam. He or she said, cancel this damn show. They hate it. What? Hold on. Wait a minute.
Make black hair great again.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Now,
We're coming. Get our check.
Cheryl Morrow, the one, the only, the hair oracle.
I think it was Red Dot, and then we also had a cosmetology school instructor in the chat, Miss Denise West, Michelle Allen, Miss Foster. Dang, I missed your name. It's always nice to see Miss Foster in the chat. Michelle Allen, you know how much we love you too.
What? About a whole lot of peace. Cheryl, you order that in a bag of chips.